All right, how are you doing? He's hoping that all is well with you. Asante sana for joining us on Debate 411. We are here every Monday and Wednesday to converse about various issues from across the country and, of course, global ones as well. And, of course, today on the program, we're talking about a very pertinent issue that has been doing rounds on several social media platforms. And some people have also talked about it. We touched a bit about it last week on Monday, and it is concerning the issue of street vendors. Our special focus is mostly on the women street vendors. How do we find an amicable solution to this particular issue of street vendors? That's the focus on the program tonight. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Let me introduce my panelists on the program. I have Mama Janet, who's the co-founder of Gahaya Links. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right, thank you. Also with us is Ingabire Alice, who is Mother and Child Development Center. She comes from the Mother and Child Development Center. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for receiving me.
Right. Dr. Wazime is not new on the program. He's been here on the program, and of course, he focuses mostly on urban development and planning. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Wazimia.
Most welcome.
Right. So this issue of women street vendors, and of course, just street vendors in general, you know, the city has tried, and other people have also tried to come up with an amicable solution to this issue. You know, calling on them to join cooperatives and make their business formal, but we still have them in the streets. And it's important to hear from you, especially the women who have been working hand in hand with some of these women to give them a living. What is the current, you know, status of affairs from your own perspectives? Do you feel that there is a neglect of these people, or do you feel that these are people who just want to be there? We have tried, we have done our best, but they do not want to leave. Let me start with you, Ngabire.
I actually started the Mother and Child Development Center because of the street vendors, the women street vendors that we were seeing around. So it's not that they are there because they want to be there. They are trying to earn a living. And so it's not easy. So before we look at how to get a solution, we have to first look at the cause
of the problem.
So we wouldn't say that is the business that they chose, because there are very many other businesses that we can, but it is the easiest and cheapest way of survival for that certain group of people. Yeah.
So it is the easiest and the cheapest way of survival, and it's not their choice.
It's not.
It's not their choice. Is this really true? Because you have a very great organization, and of course what you do out there, I mean, any woman would want to do or to be part of if they had no other source of livelihood. Is this the true picture of the situation?
You know, I would wish to differ a little bit based on what my experience working with women across the country.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues is the mindset of the women.
Mindset.
The mindset. Because, you know, there are so many things that are really put in place for them, but the mindset still remains on the street.
That's the easy way to go.
That it is the easiest to go, easiest way to go. So what I think these women need to actually learn more about doing business off the street. There are so many issues they face, much as they do business on the streets. Here they have done business, they have sold what they have sold, but along the journey between Kigali city center, towards Chahafi, somebody meets her along the way and takes her money. And that means that she has really worked tirelessly for nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas these women who have come off the street, we have women in Chimirongo, in Kichukiro markets, who actually had the same mindset and are off the street. And these are women who have taken a lead in learning more about doing small businesses off the street. And most of them have even gone further to learn about how they can even do a cashless business, whereby they are doing their business here, they are depositing their money in the nearest Sako bank, meaning that these women, they are doing a safe business. So, but some of the women who go on the street actually is because they don't know the challenges and issues that are on the street.
Right. And so
and some of them,
yeah.
actually you find There are women who have stores in some market. So I think there must be a mind shift change, and there must be measures that actually should be enforced to get these women off the street.
Measures to be enforced.
Yes.
Ingabire says this is the easy way to go for them and it's not their choice. You say it's a mindset issue. Dr. Bazimia, in your life in the city, in City Hall, was this an issue that you grappled to deal with? And if you look back today, would you agree or disagree with either of the two of them here?
I think in many ways, street vendors is an urban problem. Because you hardly see these fellows in the rural areas. So the biggest question is, why do they appear and why do they operate within urban areas, particularly the large
Ingabire
centers?
said this is the easy way for them.
Now, is it the easy way or the only option?
What do you think?
That's a question that is fundamental, because if you don't know the problem, you can't cure it. Why are these fellows on the streets selling whatever items that they can get? What is their role? What is the role of the administration? How can we bring them together to help these poor fellows? You find some woman is carrying her kid on the back, is carrying a basket of whatever she's selling. She's running away from whoever is chasing her. She's not sure of the next street to turn on. And we say they are the problem. Have we actually defined the problem of the street vendors from its root and its cause so that we can deal with the issue but provide solutions?
Right. So do you think we've done that? Because this is a question you ask and pose, and I would like to turn it back to you. From your time at City Hall, do you think this question was ever answered?
I don't think it has been answered. For example, what do they say that we cannot comfortably find elsewhere? But if we can find what they said elsewhere, why do they say it where they said it? Can't we organize them into more coherent, more operational, more worthwhile, not necessarily cooperatives, but we can put up stores in which we tell them, this is where you sell.
Yeah, but Gaia Links is there. Our organization is there. But we still have them in the streets. What have we done wrong? What have we done wrong?
Let me bring back the question to you.
Yes,
Let me bring back
let's
the
first hear
question
her
to you.
intervene and
Let
then
me
come back to the
intervene a
question.
little bit.
Yes,
We are talking about selling,
yes.
but there are other things that have put in place for these women to access, especially when we come to financing. I know there have been so many financing systems that have been put in place by the city, by the Ministry of Gender and Family Promotion for these women to do smaller business.
And you feel like they're not
But
taking
what
advantage
they
of
do,
them. Yes.
They go pick the money.
Yeah.
If you know that you have that mind of forming a group, a small cooperative, and go access that finance,
Yeah.
you are using in business,
Yeah.
but you can't follow business regulation or business laws.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem there. Because if you have that courage, if you have that knowledge actually of accessing finance, but then you are using in a manner that is not what the
Appropriate, yes.
that is not appropriate.
Yeah.
I think the problem, I won't throw, a stone on one side.
Yeah.
I would say they also have a role to play.
Yeah.
Because if I go there and access finance that is put in by the government for me to do business, and then I also differ from what the government has put that fund in place for. The government comes and says, you go in cooperatives, you access this fund to do business. You form that cooperative knowing that it is put in place for you and there's a place to do business or using that fund. Then after getting that fund, you sit there in a small bit, and then in a blink of an eye, you are off on the streets.
Back again.
Go to Chimirongo Market. There are women that have put there, as you enter in front of where the taxis park, they sell fruits, and those are women who are former street vendors. But they do more business. Then I would say even ask the community. who stop our cars on the street and buy from these women,
We are doing wrong.
we are doing wrong. We are encouraging the chaotic business, you know, ways, the way of doing
Yeah,
business.
but Dr. Bazimia says that, you know, they are selling things that we might have to go further distances to achieve or to get them. And so they are also earning a living in the
Let
process.
me tell you another way.
Yes.
It's not that we don't know where to get those things. There are markets all over Rwanda,
Yeah.
all over Kigali.
Yeah.
It's just that people, as she put it, they want it the easy way. Even us want it the easy way.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Rwanda Revenue Authority put a law enforcement and says, if you are buying something from somebody who has no IBM machine,
Yeah.
whatever returns you are going to declare, we are not going to respect it
Yeah.
because you are doing the wrong business.
Yeah.
Should we encourage, we as the consumers, should we assist in putting law in place through going to the respective? Because if you go to in front of Kigali City Market, there is a Kigali City Market that is full of all the produce, but these women are sitting on the street.
The
And
shortcut.
some of them are from inside there. So if you buy from them, really,
You're stealing from your own country. You
And
say.
then-
Yeah.
and by the way,
Yeah.
it's not a matter of saying you are buying from them the easy way. You are actually spoiling the business ethics of this country. Because I am in the stall, I'm paying taxes. And somebody's trying to sell it the easy way, as she put it.
Right.
I will have to correct that.
Yes.
Maybe I said the easy way because I'm looking at this woman. If we really know the cause as to why they are pushed on the street, it's not because they chose that business. And if we are there to help them and educate them, because most of them are illiterate, one, these are women who are faced with different kinds of harassments from home to everything, and then they have limited capital. So if they, actually most of them are domestic workers. Most of them are from homes to the street and then just getting a survival. So if they have a capital of 2,000 or 1,000, they are going to run to the market, purchase very little items, they go on the streets. If they are lucky and you buy the stuff from them, then they will earn 1,500. They eat the 500 and continue like
Reinvest
that.
in the 1,000.
It's not the best, but as Mr. Anangwe says, we have to get solutions. So you are not going to get solutions saying, let's push them into cooperatives, let's push them into this and this. They have to also find or first know, as you said in the first way, one, it's the mindset. I totally agree with you because it's the easiest way, because from one's home, they jumped off the street, got the capital of 1,000, started selling tomatoes or whatever, and then they were able to sell, to get rent, buy food and everything. So it makes easy life for them.
Right, but
because
Janet
they
says-
cannot go back to the
Yes,
village.
yes.
So the solution
Yeah.
is gotten
Yeah.
not only forcing them into cooperatives. We've tried that. That is actually what I do on a daily basis. But they tell you, no, we are not going to accept those cooperatives. You know why? Because of the regulations do not permit us. We need quick money. We need money to survive.
And that's what she says is wrong.
Yeah,
It's the wrong
so-
perceptions, the wrong mindset. They get assisted but still go back out there.
But their assistance,
Yes.
I totally do agree.
Yeah.
There are very many institutions, and the government is really putting in a big hand
Yeah.
into supporting them or getting them off the street. But is it being done the right way?
It's not being done the right way, you think?
It is the right way, but there are very many other things that would be done prior to giving this woman a certain amount of money. Because first of all, look at her capacity of like conducting that business. She found herself in Kigali like at the age of 13. Jumped into domestic work. From domestic work, even if you gave her 50,000, she's not going to be able to manage it. So she needs institutions like us or other big organizations to finance certain programs like teaching them skills, teaching them the savings, showing them the wrong and the bad path, and then they will decide and say, I'm going to get off the street because I have another alternative.
Option. So you
Because
feel you
if-
feel there's been a failure in institutions that have the capability of training them.
I wouldn't really call it a failure because it's a huge number.
Yeah.
And yes, we really do accept it. There are very many things that they really don't put in place, because if they are conducting illegal businesses, that's why we are there to help them conduct good businesses. But if you chase them off the streets today, because you gave them a certain amount of money, are you really sure that money is going to be invested in that business? No. That's why they go grab the money, pay rent or do anything that they need, and then
they
go back to the street.
Yeah.
You chase them in Kichukiro,
Yeah.
they go to some other place, because you have not really changed their mindset,
Yeah.
as she said.
Right.
So it's really a huge program that would be like really put in big effort, train them, let them accept and know what they are doing is wrong, and
Right.
there is no future for them tomorrow. And
You
then
see, Eugene,
Yeah. Yeah.
let's put the things into focus a little bit.
Yes.
I think when I started, I said, why are these fellows,
In the streets.
particularly in the streets, particularly in the bigger towns? I think there is a mismatch
Sure.
between real local community needs
Sure.
and institutional objectives. And
Where's the problem?
now, for example, when you talk of cooperatives, are you really talking of cooperatives for these street vendors? Are the rules and regulations in favor of them?
Illiterate.
Are the management of these cooperatives really fine-tuned to the interests of the street vendors? Well, on top of that, from an urban perspective, where do these street vendors come from? Why are they particularly here and not elsewhere? And I think there has been an institutional mismatch, in a sense that we put rules and regulations governing the cooperatives, yes. But we all know how elitist the cooperatives are.
So it does not talk to these women. These
It may
rules
talk
do
to
not
them.
talk to
It
It
them.
may,
They
but not in a
facilitate
day.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Basinya,
Yeah.
there are some things you have to look at.
Yeah.
As I'm saying, that when you talk about illiteracy level in Kigali, especially in everybody, I'll give you an example of the motorbike drivers.
Yes.
Those who do taxi motor.
Yes.
You can't say they are the same as these women. But when they formed the cooperatives and knew that if I'm not going to be in this cooperative of motor drivers, there are things that I'm not going to access. Number one, I'm not going to access parking in point A and B and C. They are not educated, but they followed there was a lot of awareness. They created a lot of awareness among the motor. But the issue of the women street vendors, much as they have done a lot in getting some women off the street,
Yeah.
there is still an influx of people who think Kigali is the market.
That's
So-
where I want, let me interrupt.
Yes.
There is still an influx into Kigali. Where does it come from?
Now,
Who is the source? What is the source of the influx? You see, when you talk of the motor drivers, actually half of them are not members of the cooperatives.
Sure.
Half of them do illegal business in terms of kudoda no gudu.
Yeah.
I drive for 8 hours, give it to you when you are not registered. That's the source of the problem. Now, you cannot compare the the motor riders with the poor street vendors.
A
These
woman
are people-
working with a
I mean,
child on the back and the pregnancy, you know.
Let me put a little bit of numbers. Kigali has grown from 115,000 in 1994 to 1.3 million today. And where do these fellows come from?
They
These
come
are
from
rural fellows
Yeah.
who are literally burden ridden where they are, and they say Kigali is the destination.
And so what do we do? I mean, what's the context here in terms of the women street vendors?
We have to broaden the debate.
When?
Yeah.
When are we going to start doing that?
Maybe this is the starting point.
You see, we have
Yeah.
we
Maybe
have
this is the
schools
starting
open.
point. You
Yeah,
see,
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
listen. We have 58,000 university graduates almost every year,
Yeah.
right? Where do they work? Most of the shopkeepers now are employing university graduates at a rate of less than 100,000.
So what's the point here, doctor?
The point is, we have to get an institutional mix whereby we look at the street vendors, not just people vending on the street, but we look at the causes,
Yeah.
the networks, the conditions, the regulations that could be used either to stop the inflow so that we can curb the numbers, right? That provide the houses. Some of these houses contain more than 20 people a piece. Now, we should be able to say, these fellows are vending on the streets, but who is their client?
We are the clients.
Yeah. but
We are the client, yet we are
yes.
the ones pointing fingers
Yeah.
to what they are doing.
Yeah, so Madam Janet, do you agree with this? Because he says the issue is the mismatch. You
I
feel
like the way he has
yes,
put it that university graduates
Yes.
a lot of graduates every year, and the job market in this country is very limited compared to the numbers of the people
graduating. Yes,
Meaning that we have to, as government has started putting in TVET and other things,
yeah,
I think we have to address the entrepreneurial skills,
Yep.
job creation,
Sure.
gearing our energy towards the market-driven jobs that can be here. For me, as a university graduate work in a shop, I don't find it a problem. It's an opportunity. When you go to places like United States,
yeah,
during summer holidays, who are the barmen? Who are the waiters and waitresses? University graduates. Except that our children here in Rwanda still have that high-level attitude, which they don't want to push
I
down.
think it depends on what they get.
yeah.
But
yeah.
also, Eugene,
Still,
at that intersection,
yes,
what Janet is saying, I went through the system. I worked as a security guard, I worked as a barman, I worked as a watchman. But what I earned, no university graduate earns it here. Of course, we are comparing two different systems.
Yeah,
I could pay my house rent. I could
Yeah.
pay part of my school fees.
Yeah.
That's not what we are getting here.
yeah. But still, you see, for me, what I'm looking
So
at
we
here is
cannot, no, what I'm trying to
Yes.
drive at, let us not compare two incomparable
Sure.
systems.
Sure.
systems.
Because let's look at it from a local perspective.
Yeah. Now, looking at it from a
I
local
am-
perspective, because we also have to go for a break and also bring in some of our audiences who are watching and sending in their tweets. We are bringing in the issue of academics, but here we're talking about women who have children. Some of them are married. Some of them cannot be able to go back to these universities, don't even have that money. So how do we bring
Who
them
controls the big
in
chunk
this?
of the market, Anangwe?
Yeah.
It is these women who have never been to school.
Yeah.
Let us be realistic.
Yes.
We are not talking about the white collar jobs here. All the markets in this country are 90% or 80% are women who have never been to school, but they crunch in their numbers, they can sell beans, they can sell tomatoes. And I think this is the approach we need to use.
Yeah.
If we are looking at these women selling tomatoes, where is the demand? Why is this woman coming to Kigali City Center? Can we create around the market where these women are vending and create a synergy there where these women can, people who shop from them on the street can access what they are selling, but they buy it in a modern way.
Right. So this
So
issue of bringing in school.
If we are talking about street vending,
Yeah.
they are talking about addressing the issue. The issue is saying, why is this woman coming to sell in Kigali
On the
City?
street.
Sure.
Are people in Kigali City lacking this
necessities or
service?
services, yes.
you know, if the Kigali city people, where these women gather and sell, how do we create a market around that? But the funny part of it, if you go, I always go to this Quartier Commercial, the opposite, the Kigali city market. As you go down, there's everything that you need, and the same women are still on the street. So when these Daso people come running, they all vanish downstairs to the stores downstairs. So I don't know how we can address that for these women to stay there, for people to find them there.
Literally an angle.
Now, is it accessibility? If it is the market center, how easy is this market accessed? I think sometimes we would look at why these women come on the street from the stalls. I think it is accessibility. So how do we create accessibility to these services that people need? I'm here in a car, I'm stopping for 5 minutes, but I need to buy also tomatoes.
Yeah, but initially you said this is a shortcut mentality, which you
but
are
the
against.
shortcut is, how do we create those shortcuts into a lucrative business?
How do we do that? How do we do that?
Creating...
Let's hear from her.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, I feel that if people are gathering, let's say in Nyamirambo area,
Yes.
and there is no market there, and the whole evening, the whole day, people are fighting on that street, that means there is a market, there is a consumer market available there.
There's demand.
So
yes.
how do we build around that place that has highest numbers of street vendors to create a you know, where they can sit in one place? And I have seen it happen because it has happened across Chimirongo Market. These women used to sit, you remember they used to sit along this street with pineapples, pawpaws and everything. But they put containers along there. So as you drive through, instead of this, like you stop in the middle of the street, you drive, stop, they serve you, you continue and go. I think we need to create areas like those, you know, stop centers where you can buy and ration.
So who needs to create that? Is it government? Is it who? Is it the
I
people
would-
themselves?
No, you see,
That's the question. Let's
indeed.
first bring in Ingabire because she's been a bit silent for a while.
It's not easy as we may debate now, because the number is big, as we all agree. Secondly, the street vendors are in different categories. There are those who will conduct the street vending when they have stalls in the market, but because they are selling perishable goods, they need the goods to get
go,
finished.
yes.
Because if they don't get finished, then tomorrow
It's a loss.
it's a loss. You understand? So it's not like somebody who is going to sell dry beans or dry nuts. You understand? So yes, it needs big efforts. Civil society and the government to put together. But the most successful thing that we've tried in Mother and Child Development Center, and which has worked, and that gives us confidence to say that this woman does not go on the street because she wants to go on the street. Because one, they have lots of burdens, the children, the pregnancies and everything, running up and down, the dazzles on them. It's, if there would be a way of teaching them a skill, which is being done, which different organizations do, but because of the hardships they have, she starts the training and then tomorrow she has a certain problem. Because
So
most
she's not
of them,
able to continue.
good. So it needs time and persistence and somebody to really follow up on them so that they don't give up.
Yeah.
Like, she goes for 2 months, gets a certain problem, they shift up and down, but you're like, come back. At the end of the day, when they finish the skill, even if you gave them capital and told them, go in the market and do the business, they're not going to do it.
They won't go.
I
No.
think even doing business, selling tomatoes, selling carrots and all that is a business.
It
For
is.
me,
It is.
I believe it is a business which is done in a way that is not appropriate.
Sure.
So what we need to address is to find a way of, like, if you are a non-government organization that deals with women, maybe there should be a more holistic approach of having a one-on-one engagement with these women and talk to them and ask them their issues. Because you cannot start the pyramid from the top.
Yeah.
You need to start from the
Bottom.
So the bottom line is to see, to find a way of mobilizing these women, listen to them, as she's saying.
That's what we do.
Listen to them. But you are doing it from an NGO
Yeah,
Perspective.
perspective. I know.
You are not doing it from a business perspective. So talk to them. Ask her, where are you from? Why do you come to vend here? Because when you are trying to address an issue, you have to understand this person, why she's there, and what pulls her there, understand how much she makes, if it is viable for her, and then start creating the awareness of saying, how can we improve the business?
Yeah.
For me, I don't believe in harassing and chasing them off the street.
Yeah.
I believe in educating them and teaching them how to do a better way, how to do business in
a better way.
That's,
We're gonna-
that's a very good approach.
That's a
Good
very
approach.
good.
We're going to take a short break, and it's very interesting that we have these answers. We have these very interesting thoughts and approaches. But the sad reality is we still have these women out here.
We'll never get
Why
rid
do
of
we?
them 100%.
How do we make sure that we are able to at least pull a
Let me
majority
tell
of
you
them?
now.
When we come back, Mami, when we come back from the break, we're going to take a very short break, and of course keep those thoughts coming along, and we'll definitely be able to read some of them, like this one from Bosco, who says that these women can join each other in cooperatives and work with MFIS and expand their business and comply with legal practices. This is what he says. Ingavere Pasi is actually asking, is there any street vendor among the panelists? You said you did several kind of jobs from being a
I
guard.
still do. I
Did you
still
do this one? Did you? Were
No,
you
I
ever?
didn't. I was never a street
transformed
Never a
vendor.
street vendor.
I was never.
We are also
I
transforming
transformed
street.
vendors to
You
business.
transform them to
Yes.
businesses.
I'm also transforming them
Right.
to other.
So we can be able to
Yeah,
be
they
in
are-
their shoes.
Yeah.
They are successful stories.
Thank you so much for those particular thoughts. We are still right here, and of course, when we come back, we'll be touching on the solutions. How do we do this? As Dr. Bazimia said, it is not possible to remove 100% of the streets. But is that possible? Can we work harder to remove a bigger number of them out of the streets? When we return, keep tweeting at Debate411 or at Eugene and Nangwe. I'll read them when we return. Stay with us.